Okay, now we're moving on to what's currently this Innovation and Sustainability Fund, and we have hopefully about 6 minutes before the break if we time that nicely.
Did we do point 2 on that?
Aidan, was 2 captured? Just the noting provision? Yep, that was captured, yep. So, thanks Tony. This fund's been around for a little while now and has got a little way to go. So could you have a wee chat to us talk us through the paper and the changes?
Well, kia ora koutou. My name's Tony Moore and I've been overseeing this fund for the last few years. It's been a real pleasure and a privilege to do that, and we're very lucky to still have it, so thank you very much for actually keeping it in the budgets. Over the past few years we've funded about 72 projects, for wonderful projects from the community, ranging from a tool library and a predator trap library, New Zealand's first electric plane, which is now in Christchurch, tours of sustainable homes, a whole range of things like that, including food growing throughout the city and food sharing as well. So, and it's been a wonderful fund to oversee, and this committee of course has been making the decisions around the funding, as well as staff delegation under 10,000. So we're looking at making some changes to this fund, and the key refinement I suppose is to focus the fund towards climate change projects. This council has got a strategic direction of meeting the challenge of climate change through every means available, and this is clearly a means that is available for supporting that. We're also looking to simplify the evaluation criteria to make it a bit clearer as what we're asking for. We in the past have struggled with applicants not giving us the real information around their project and really understanding of the criteria. So we've refined the criteria a little bit to talk about relevance to the fund, the benefits of the project, and then the other criteria are the same: legacy, deliverable and measurable are the same as they were before. We are also seeking a change to only require applications from legal entities. We've had in the past individuals could apply, and we've had some difficulties with those applications. So we're suggesting that this is only for legal entities, that is trusts and businesses and organisations like that, and that is the same that is applied to the community Strengthening Communities Fund as well. They have the same approach. And then we're looking to have funding rounds rather than an ongoing monthly sort of decision-making process, which is what we used last time. So the benefit of that, of course, is that we can bring all applications to this committee, and you can make decisions on all of the projects that you have received rather than staff delegations. But it also means you can weigh up the proposals against other proposals, whereas in a way it was first in, first served. If you were early in the year, you'd have more funds available and it would probably be more likely to succeed, but as time goes on, of course, the funds get a bit tighter, and so decisions are made a bit more with a bit more rigour, I suppose. So that having all the applications come to you means you get to see the applications, can weigh them up, but also gives some simplicity for staff to process those applications as well. It's a bit easier for us to do so. So they are the key changes really for this. The other decisions we're seeking around Living Springs. They're obviously not-for-profit trust seeking some additional funding to deliver a project which this committee has already approved, which is to include an enclosed compost plant on their facility to compost food waste that they have from their hospitality. And then the other one is around the Power Pavilion, which we're suggesting that the council withdraw their support for that proposal, which is to install a very large public art installation for about 2 years in the central city, made out of power insulators. So that's the original proposal that came to us, and we're suggesting for various reasons that the funding for that will be withdrawn, and then of course that becomes available for other projects that this committee might want to approve.
That's great. Thanks, Tony. The other wee change was actually just changing the title, so taking out the innovation in all of itself, but if it's innovation to do with climate change, that's fine, but it doesn't necessarily need to be innovation. Anne, question?
Yes, thanks, Tony. So I'm just interested in terms of changing the name and putting that focus on sustainability. If someone has, we know that there are great ideas happening and perhaps coming out of the university, for example, where I'm worried that the innovation sort of aspect could be downplayed at a time when we actually need innovative thinking. can you see that that could be an issue with this? Where else would people go to seed ideas, get funding to seed really good ideas that would actually eventually feed into what we're hoping to achieve with this?
So I suppose the way that this, if we change the wording or the title to be the Sustainability Fund, then it would allow innovation for a purpose, which of course is to have a more sustainable city. So in this case, responding to climate change. So in order for the city to respond to climate change, we are going to need innovation. And so that is part of the picture of moving towards a low carbon economy, the innovation in businesses, the innovation in communities, understanding, of course, the impacts of climate change and innovating around resilience as well. So I think it's inherent that we will be receiving innovative proposals, but whether you need to call it that is up to this committee.
So I will just add, it's just that some applications in the past have been innovation, and the criteria in the past, you needed to be innovative.
Yes.
Whereas now you don't need to be, because some of the solutions and community drivers for sustainability may not be new solutions, if you like, but going back to old ones. So, yeah.
Yes, that is true. So
we're not precluding innovation, we're just not specifying that it has to be.
That's right. So an example of that might be community gardens, for example, and maybe you might say there's nothing particularly innovative about community gardens, but it's a response to the concern around food and equity and so on. So there's that's an example.
Okay. Melanie? And then James.
Following from Ian's question, what's an example or in what proportion maybe of projects that were funded previously would fit not into the sustainability but just innovative?
Sure. So the focus for this report talks about moving towards a focus on climate change, and the majority of the projects previously funded would fit that criteria. So, and it's because we had a sustainability focus previously, but there are a few that would not, and so typically the projects that are more of an art nature, public art, so the SALT proposal that this committee has previously approved would probably not fit that climate change criteria. Likewise, there was one around this committee funded, which was to deal with heritage, and you might want to reconsider that under the light in terms of climate change. So it was an app that captured stories of a local area and then curated those stories. Mm-hmm. And then another example was there was an app, again under the innovation heading, which was to help deaf children play games and understand how to communicate with their peers. So it was a sort of a virtual learning experience to then allow deaf people to interact more with other children. So those would probably not fit the new criteria proposed today.
But they could come to a discretionary fund of some kind of council, couldn't they?
So there is a heritage fund that's available.
Yeah.
That's correct, and and it's I guess where these other projects might sit. And fortunately, the Rata Foundation have also developed a sustainability part to their portfolio as well. So there's another avenue that's a new arrangement that they've come up with. So under the heading of sustain, so there's an opportunity for community groups to go to that as well.
Ian, did you have a follow-up?
Yeah,
We didn't need a
I'm
hand
feeling worried that we are perhaps giving the message to our community that we don't want. We're not encouraging innovation and innovative thought. So I'm wondering if there is a way that we could achieve what we want to achieve with sustainability without excluding innovative thought generally, and how we could manage that.
Yeah, I mean, as I said before, we're not going to be excluding innovative thoughts. I think the challenge before us in terms of responding to climate change is a significant one, and we're going to need a substantial amount of innovation. And there's a whole range of opportunities that sits within that as well. And so I think the challenge and opportunity go hand in hand. And so innovation is, as I said, inherent in this. We've received a lot of applications previously that were innovative, but also with a sustainability outcome. So I think that they're quite well aligned.
Okay, we'll just move on to James now.
Kia ora, Tony. Thanks for your report. In 5.1, you're talking about Nature's Rainbow and the funding agreement termination, or project default, I think it is.
Yes.
Can you just let me know? I love butterflies.
Sure.
What's happening with that butterfly garden? I see that they didn't reach their project milestones, and that's what why the funding stopped. What's happening with that? Do you know?
Yes, so the applicant isn't proceeding. So
At all?
Yes, correct. So those two projects, sorry, I didn't mention that in my introduction, but there are two projects that we have made, they've been defaulted, and so we're advising them to either return the funds or that we no longer fund them. So one project is we're asking for funding back, that is Project Sea Change, and the Butterfly project, the funds were never uplifted. So that the person is no longer proceeding with that project.
All right, thanks.
Okay. Any other questions? If not, I'd quite like to move this one. Do I have a seconder? Mike? Any debate? No?
Yes. Just,
Anne?
I feel, as I said, I feel disappointed that the word innovation is not going to be there. I think we need to find a place for that to happen, and to give the message to our communities that we are really open to innovative ideas, whether it's to do with climate change or whatever. But we're a city that actually embraces that. So that's where I just like to make that point.
Thanks, Anne.
Yeah, if we could put 5 separately, yes, that would be great.
Thanks. And look, I support every part of this. And I think the main thing is innovation's not excluded, and actually we have many different funding pots across council where innovation fits in every single one of them.
Tim?
Yeah, look, I'll reiterate what Ian said. I think it's important to keep both titles there, but and also if we could put 5 separate, that would be good.
Okay, anyone else? No, I'll just wrap up then. It's just that our council focus on climate change and the challenges that climate change bring has been growing over the last few years. And I know that when I first joined council, if I had suggested that we might at some point declare a climate change emergency or set, carbon neutral targets for the city, I think that people would have laughed, but here we are, and to have a fund now that the community can apply for that is going to help meet those challenges is really important. The criteria have changed slightly. The criteria used to sort of specify that you needed to be innovative, and that's not necessarily the case anymore, which is great. But innovation should be embedded in everything we do at council, and we should be open to it everywhere. And we're not precluding any innovation, we're just not specifying that it has to be anymore. The focus is and should be sustainability, and I would love for innovative solutions to come forward, and they will and they do. But the sustainability is the core focus there. So I'm really happy to be moving this, and I guess we'll just vote on it now. So we'll do 1 through to 4. All in favour, please say aye. Aye. Any against? No, it's just 1 through 4. That's carried. And number 5, all those in favour, please say aye. Aye. Any against?
No.
Ooh, okay. Hands up, please.
For no?
So, James, Anne, Pauline, Phil, and Tim. Is it worth? No, if you call for it, we have to do it. Okay, you guys just happy for your names to be recorded? Okay.
Yeah.
Is Catherine online yet? No, okay. Right, in that case I declare that carried. Thank you very much.